once you get to the point of opening a restaurant, take your budget and double it.
I think you guys just won the best overall restaurant.
I've always been super interested in food and cooking, ever since I was a kid. I've loved to cook.
Could you see the success immediately when you guys opened, or did it take a little while?
If you don't have that reputation, then it's really hard.
What was one of the hardest or the scariest financial decision you had to make? Launching a restaurant during one of the most challenging economic periods wasn't just bold, it was a full-on risk. That's exactly what Hudson Terrell did in 2021 when he opened Animal Farm. It didn't stay small for long, quickly growing into one of Columbus's favorite spots, but not without its share of ups and downs. Financial pressure, leadership shifts, and the overall hustle of running a restaurant. And just this year, he launched Gabagool downtown, an Italian-American spot focusing on fresh pasta, classic comfort foods, and creative cocktails. In this conversation, Hudson opens up about the art of building and sustaining a restaurant here, the lessons learned in both risk and recognition, and what it takes to keep a community fed, inspired, and satisfied. Which one is harder, opening the restaurant or keeping it open?
That's kind of tough. I would say on the first one, opening it is definitely harder. The second one, keeping it open's harder. Okay. The opening part gets a lot easier after you've done it once.
Get the infrastructure in place,
There's just so many things as far as that you have no idea. Just stuff the health department will throw at you, or the licensing, or just building codes and stuff that you never even would have imagined before. But once you know it one time, then you're not going to get caught with it again. So,
especially with the historic buildings, old buildings. I watch just being on YouTube and seeing the little sushi restaurants that are 2 Michelin star, and they're always really small, shoved into a side of this really old building. And I think, how are they getting the plumbing in there, the nat gas? Yeah. How are they doing all of this? In Manhattan or New York, part of New York City. So it's got to be difficult anywhere you're at, but especially being in a historic building. How old is the building that
they're both in? I can't remember the exact year, but the Gabagool building's older. That was the late 1800s, and then Animal Farm, I want to say, was either late 1800s, very early 1900s.
Yep,
I'm not 100% sure.
I can imagine. We did remodeled 2 historic buildings, both around, I think it was between 1900 and 1920 in Monroe, Louisiana for offices. And it's definitely not easy. But you guys have done a great job in making it feel warm and cozy. And
was there a restaurant in Animal Farm before you guys moved in?
Yeah, it was called Bear Roots. It was a brunch place.
Oh, yes. Okay. I remember eating there.
Yeah. But to put it into what I was just talking about with how it was harder on the first one, it took 1.5 years to open Animal Farm, and Gabagool we opened in 3 months.
Wow.
So it turned it around a lot quicker.
What was the 1.5 year process? What was the biggest obstacle you came up against trying to open the restaurant? I mean, it's obviously 2021 too, right? And COVID
right
times.
After.
Yeah.
Some big stuff like putting in a bigger hood vent. I never in a million years would have realized how hard putting in a hood vent is.
Yeah.
Because it has to have 10 different people have to work on it. So it's
right.
Plumbers, electricians, welders, gas, the fire suppression. It's AC people. It's everybody has to touch it. So it takes forever and it's really expensive. So that was probably the biggest thing.
Did you guys have to do a big remodel in there, or did you basically?
Not really. We made the kitchen bigger because, you've seen it now. It's tiny as is, but we made it a little bigger. Rebuilt the bar. If I had to go back on it and do it again now, I probably could do it in 4 months.
Wow.
But I didn't know what I was doing.
Well, there's always a learning curve in any business that you open, especially the restaurant business.
Yeah.
But you grew up in Columbus.
Yep.
And you were born and raised here. Did you always kind of have that entrepreneur kind of bug? Did you know that that's the food was the path you were going to go?
I've always been super interested in food and cooking, ever since I was a kid. I've loved to cook and just love restaurants in general. And I guess I have kind of always wanted to have my own business. I would watch my dad, do it. So I think I kind of always have. There's a couple turning points, I guess, where I really realized that I wanted to do it.
So your dad being an entrepreneur is interesting. Did you consciously see him putting in the work?
Oh yeah.
And that made an impression on you, I guess.
Yeah, he he started, I mean, you'll have to get him to tell you his real story if you, I won't get into the details of it, but he started basically couldn't get a good job, and just started with a lawnmower in the back of his truck.
Yeah.
And grew it to what it was. So I watched him, my whole life build it from the ground up, basically. So that was always cool, and his work ethic and how he does stuff. I definitely learned, everything from how he does stuff. So.
What did your dad say about when you decided to open Animal Farm, being in the downtown area? Because which we're close to the same age, but 10 years difference. We were talking before the show started. And, the trend really was when we were growing up and going to restaurants, it was always like, the strip malls and the malls and downtowns had really been forgotten. And now it got kind of trendy 2011, 12, 13 to start revitalizing downtowns, especially all across the South. And so now that's like the thing to do. But, 20 years ago, it was not. So what did your dad think about the location, going downtown instead of having a standalone at a different location, a different spot? Or was that even something that was...
I don't even remember us really talking about it. He's like extremely supportive, and I had put in all the kind of the work in the restaurant business by the time I decided to open that. So I don't think he really thought much of it.
Yeah.
He just supported
what
I wanted to do.
That's great, but it's definitely a big change.
That's because of Tom and Buddy. I mean, Marbella, Salt Cellar, Loft. I mean, none of us would be down here if it wasn't for them.
Yeah, and they kind of
did all the ground.
If you're listening, yes, we would like to talk to you. Yes.
Yeah, I mean, take us back to the beginning of Animal Farm. So what was leading up to that? So what was your work leading up to owning the restaurant, and how do you make that decision of saying, I mean, I guess you worked for restaurants before that?
Yeah. I was at UGA, and I kind of decided to just jump into the restaurant business. I was like going back and forth about going to law school and things, and I watched this documentary. It's like I don't even remember what the documentary was, but it was about Jim Carrey. And there was this scene of it where he was talking about his dad and how his dad's dream was to be a performer, or actor. I can't remember exactly what, but his dad got scared. He wanted to go the safe path, so he became an accountant. And his accountant business failed. He went bankrupt. And he said it was like
that's rough luck, an accountant going bankrupt.
I don't remember the exact story.
You thought they would have seen it coming.
He lost his job, went bankrupt. Basically lost it. And he said it broke his dad because he chose the safe path and still failed.
Yeah.
So it was like, if you can choose the safe path and still fail, why not just go for what you actually want to do? So that made me start thinking, like, I'm just going to do what I actually want to do. And,
sometimes the biggest risk is not taking risk.
Yeah. I mean, that was a big message. You can fail doing the thing you don't want to do. So
yeah, risk is different to everybody. I mean, to your point, risk can be the thing that you don't do because you think it's safer. And it's wild how people look at that. And when you're a business owner, or when you have to start a business from the ground up, it's almost... like there is no other option. We don't really see it. We started our business as well from the ground up, and I think that there's just a paradigm shift about how you view risk, because other people may say, "Oh, that's risky," and we've been told that, "Hey, going out on your own was risky. Creating that business was risky." Yeah. Not how we saw it at all. It was like riskier to do the opposite, to not do that was the more risky thing. So it's interesting that you have that kind of perception.
People always offer unsolicited advice.
Oh, yeah.
And I remember while starting college, someone told me that, you just need to, find a job at a big company and never leave.
Yeah.
And it's like, I did get jobs at big companies. I never believed that. But what I did see is that, and especially in the type of business we're in now, where, in part, a large portion of why our firm exists is because people change jobs. Yeah. They have rollovers. They need to kind of consolidate things, get ready for retirement. And, one thing that I saw early on is nobody stays with companies anymore. I mean, that's a holdover period from the 50s and 60s and 70s where you had pensions, great healthcare, and you stayed with them for 20 years, and you're locked in with a great pension that you may need, double or triple what you could save in order to provide yourself that pension. Those times are gone. So but terrible piece of unsolicited advice, and I think, the biggest risk in a lot of people's lives is not taking risk and not understanding that the variables that are at play in life can come at you just as hard, even if you're at a 9 to 5.
Yeah.
And a lot of times you're not prepared for it because you're comfortable.
Yeah. So when was the spark? When did it come to you like, hey, I need to do my own thing?
Well, I started so when I was at Georgia, I decided I wanted to start working in restaurants just to see if that's what I wanted to do and kind of get a background. So I found there's a guy that owned a restaurant called 5 and 10. His name's Hugh Atchison in Athens. I saw that he was like won 2 James Beard Awards and was like on TV and had cookbooks, and he owned a restaurant like 5 doors down from my house in Athens. So I went in there and just basically begged him to give me a job. So I started as like a busser and a dishwasher. And then by the time I left, I worked there for over 3 years. By the time I left, I was a GM. So I started, and they just kept, like somebody, like a cook would leave, and I'd be like, I'll do it. And bartender would leave, I'll do it. Host would leave. So I kind of, pastry chef left, and I was like, I'll try it out. So by the time, a couple years in, when our manager left, I just, I guess they were just like, yeah, Hudson kind of knows how to do everything, and everybody likes him, so let's give it to him.
That's like
that's kind of a bold move.
Yeah, I mean, that's
like 22.
That's an undervalued characteristic though of somebody who just wants to go in and do the job, like regardless of what it is. I'll do that. I'll wash dishes. I'll sweep floors. I'll do whatever. Mm-hmm. And it's like, unfortunately, that's rare. That's a rare occurrence. Have you had anybody come by Animal Farm or Gabagool and say, "Hey, can I wash dishes?"
No.
Yeah, I don't know why that is.
I think it's because people idealize certain roles and things. They may, for either it's through social media, whatever it may be, and they just think some things are beneath them, but they're viewing it wrong. You should view every opportunity, especially if you're a go-getter and you got that fire in your belly. You should view every opportunity to learn something and learn a task as just like free education. You don't need a student loan for it, right? Yeah. And we've learned that in our own lives, and then also through several people we've talked to. It's just incredible. So I would encourage people to, don't say no, don't be lazy. And especially if you're trying to better yourself, take any task you can get and learn. Yeah. And it's not going to kill you. Yeah. And it's definitely not beneath you either.
It's a common theme. We talked to Lexi Campbell. She's the Flowers on 10th. Yeah. She talked about starting sweeping floors. She wasn't even paid. Like, hey, I just want to sweep your floors and watch you make flowers. So it's like, that is incredibly undervalued and can lead you to some pretty great places if you're willing to take that chance.
Yeah.
Was Animal Farm something that could you see the success immediately when you guys opened, or did it take a little while?
I mean, we were really busy at first. So like the menu at first was like more lean towards like fine dining, small plates. It's been like very farm driven from the beginning. Mm-hmm. But a year in, I changed the whole kind of concept. So like now we're obviously a lot more casual.
Yeah.
So the concept completely changed after the first year. I mean, then it slowly it's like kind of slowly gotten busier every year. So like we've gone up 15 to 20% every year. So it's kind of been a slow.
What necessitated the change in the first year?
I'm trying to even remember. I guess I just wasn't really happy with my kind of philosophy on food is like, I want to be approachable to everyone. Mm-hmm. Our kind of saying now is that like we support like pretty much all of our meat, seafood all comes from Georgia, Alabama Gulf. I mean, we will buy out farmers of produce that they basically just bring to us.
Wow.
But a lot of those like kind of farm-driven restaurants are more fine dining and expensive. So I kind of wanted to do something different. There's still that farm-driven kind of chef-driven food, but at a more approachable and affordable.
So your price points changed too within the first year?
Oh yeah, it's gone down a good bit. In the beginning, it was more expensive.
So how do you balance that with what are the notoriously tight margins in the food business?
I mean, sales heals everything. So us going up in sales obviously helps. Like sales heals all restaurant wounds.
That's the quote.
Yeah. But just keeping stuff tight, food costs and making sure there's no waste.
What are you targeting on your margin?
So it depends how you kind of look at it. But we're anywhere from, depending on the month, 10 to 15%
is your margin
profit. Yeah.
Is that on the higher end of food service?
The high end is 20. That's really that's like what your Texas Roadhouses of the world hit.
Interesting.
20s.
Buying at scale, maximum efficiency.
And just like insane volume.
Yeah.
But 15 is kind of what we shoot for.
And is that drink? That's everything included, right? Because you're going to make more on drinks than you do on your food, right?
Yeah. And we sell a lot of cocktails. Both restaurants sell a lot of cocktails, so that helps.
Yeah,
He doesn't know anything about that.
I would never know anything. After I get y'all's cocktails, I forget that what I've ordered. So I guess that's
the cocktails are popular.
No, I'm just kidding. Very good cocktails at Animal Farm. Very
cocktails
good,
are very popular. We did our client dinner there a couple of weeks ago, and when I got the bill, we were looking at their receipt. Cocktail. I was like, man, they're popular tonight.
Yeah.
So you must be doing something right.
No, I would say definitely. I think the best all around cocktails in Columbus is Animal Farm.
I appreciate it.
Yeah, I would definitely say that at decent prices. And
ours are lower. Like I take a little bit more of a hit on our cocktails because we sell ours for $12, and a lot of the places of our same kind of price point caliber sell theirs for more.
Yeah.
So we're really I'm like pretty stubborn on keeping them at 12 just because I like the number.
Yeah, no,
I like it.
Great skill behind the bar and then just good value.
Yeah.
Value for money for sure. And Columbus is interesting. It's unique as most southern towns of this size. We spent a lot of time in Tuscaloosa over the years, Monroe, Louisiana, Shreveport, Dallas. Dallas is big, so it doesn't really fall into this, but that kind of general area, the I-20 corridor, basically. And it's great when you find a southern restaurant that is doing something a little bit different, but providing great value for the money, and I think that's one of the reasons why you guys have been incredibly successful, at least in
it gets good reception. I think you guys just won the best overall restaurant of the People's Choice.
For the People's Choice.
Yeah, so I mean, you're definitely getting the notoriety. Have you noticed that? Like, does it feel that way? The difference between now and back in 2021 or 2022?
Yeah, definitely more. Like, it used to be a lot of, you mention Animal Farm, people be like, what's that?
Yeah.
I mean, for years, but now it's gotten a lot less of that. Like, most people have heard of it.
Yeah.
Which is good.
What's the origin of the branding? So talk about how you came up with the name.
People ask me that all the time, and I don't even remember. I just remember having a list and just picking it. A lot of the starting process is kind of a blur at this point, or I don't even. Yeah. I can tell you a lot more about Gabagool's kind of starting ideas because it's so fresh, and I really went heavy on some of that stuff branding wise.
Well, as a mortadella connoisseur, I was very glad to see that type of restaurant, appear on the scene.
Well, thank you.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, we'll talk about Gabagool for sure. But
I honestly don't even remember. I just remember that we had a list and we just picked one. And I don't even remember who did the logos or
what was the
terrible answer.
I can't believe that there wasn't are you worried when you're naming a restaurant for a Columbus, Georgia area? Are you worried about other restaurants that are named that, or are you not even worried about that at all?
Or you worried even more about maybe if you wanted to scale, does the name really affect that? So if you say you wanted to go to Noonan or Savannah or Montgomery, do you?
I don't think I guess if you want to get, I don't know. I think the branding surrounding the name is more important than the name because the name just becomes people just get used to it. And then names that sound weird, once you get used to it, they're not weird anymore, if that makes sense. I'm sure Marbella was kind of an odd name whenever they opened it and put it, but now it's just synonymous. Nobody questions what that name means or where it came from. It's just Marbella. And I think it's gotten that way with Animal Farm. I used to get asked that question all the time. What's his name mean? But I don't get asked it much anymore. I think people have just gotten used to it. Gabagool, I get asked a lot.
Well, you've got the signage in Gabagool, right? That has, and it's on the menu, I think, printed about why it's named that. And the Sopranos pictures all over the. Yeah. So, I mean, it's pretty explanatory, but yeah, I mean, what if you think back to those early days of opening, what was like one of the hardest or the scariest financial decision you had to make?
I remember like staffing was hard in the very beginning. Back of house, like kitchen staffing was rough.
Was that because of COVID, or was that just in general it was difficult?
We just didn't have back of house staffing is kind of a general hard topic for most restaurants, but especially if you don't have
and back of house, you're meaning
a kitchen dishwasher.
Okay.
If you don't have like that reputation, then it's really hard in the beginning. Once you kind of build a reputation of being a good place to work, and then it's a lot easier. But in the beginning, it's kind of rough.
Yeah. How do you find people if you're a new restaurant that's opening, especially if you're not a chain?
It's just, you just got to get lucky and find a couple. Like one of our first hires, we hired her as a cook, is the chef at both my restaurants now. So like she was one of our first hires, but now she basically runs both restaurants, kitchen. And then usually good people bring you more good people.
Yeah.
So it's kind of...
Well, the thing I've noticed about Animal Farm, and then it's kind of to a certain extent Gabagool, because Gabagool was stock market before that. And when I went in there, it was maybe a couple months ago to eat at Gabagool, I noticed that some of the same people were there from the last restaurant. So do you find that you kind of do a good job of keeping people that stay with you, or do you have high turnover?
I mean, we have really low turnover. I still have four or five servers and bartenders at Animal Farm that were there from the day we opened.
Okay.
Same with some of the kitchen. Like we have a lot of people that were there from when we opened. Gabagool hasn't had much turnover, so we definitely have a lot less turnover than I think most places do.
So how do you do that?
I don't know. I don't know if there's like a necessary like easy trick. That's kind of like my biggest focus is at this point is just leadership and trying to build careers for people, and just treat people well.
Is it a culture thing that you try to build a culture within? I like to think
so. I mean, that's probably my biggest focus is trying to build culture of, because it doesn't matter at the end of the day. It doesn't matter how good I can cook or how good I can bartend or serve, because I'm not the one doing it every day.
Right.
We have 70 people at this point between the two that are making it all happen. So that's the name of the game, is how do I create an environment and lead and teach these people to have high standards and do this on a day-to-day basis.
Does it involve any type of I mean, not from an equity standpoint, but a certain way to give them ownership of maybe their job or their role or the restaurant? Do you feel like your staff kind of takes that on?
I feel like we've created a sense, especially at Animal Farm. Obviously, Gabagool's new, so at Animal Farm, I feel like there's a lot of staff that definitely feel a great sense of ownership in the restaurant. They've been there since we opened.
Yeah,
they went through the hard times. And we're just really close, and we have a lot of people that really care. That's what I look for. Like, we really only hire full-time people that want to be in this business, that enjoy what they do, that care about what they do. So that's kind of the starting point.
Do you interview everyone that applies?
I used to. I don't as much anymore. We have really good managers now who see the vision of kind of what we're trying to do, and they do a good job. Our kind of one of my mottos is hire slow, fire quick. So try to be really, really picky about who we hire. And then at this point we have almost like not a list, but like we have people, good servers and bartenders and kitchen that, like, if something ever opens up, please let us know. We really want to work there. So that if we lose somebody, then we kind of already have people waiting. But yeah, and then trying to weed people out, for lack of a better term, if they're not a good fit.
How do you do that?
Just letting people go if we don't, if we notice that they're not a good culture fit and we just aren't able to really get through to them, then we just cut ties.
Is that something you have to bring them on to find out, or have you and your staff gotten good enough to like figure out from the get-go?
We're pretty good at it, like for the most part. Like we have probably really good, like I said, we don't have much turnover, so we've gotten good at hiring, being picky and getting the right people. But every once in a while, people can hide their true colors. Yeah, obviously.
I feel like that's a hard part of restaurant industry. Just as an observer of going to eat, there are some restaurants like Animal Farm where I'll go to and I'll see the same people pretty consistently, and there's other restaurants you go to and it's somebody new every time you go in. Yeah, and so it's always interesting to me to figure out, why is that? Yeah. Is it all about the culture? And it seems a great deal about that.
Pay and culture. I mean, I think that's really the factors, and getting to learn. Like that's one of our things that I think we provide is like, at Gabagool, we have one person that makes pasta all day long. Like it's kind of a dream job for anybody in the industry. Yeah. And we make 10 different pastas, or like we do a lot of stuff that's like interesting to people that they get to learn and do new things and kind of do things that excite them. Yeah. Especially in the kitchen and the bar. So I think that plays a factor too as part of the culture.
Oh, well, it goes back to the ownership. If you're giving them like the hands-on experience and like, hey, I'm assuming that you are not opposed to taking ideas from people that might have better ideas than you.
No, yeah. We have manager meetings every week looking for ideas, and because they're in it. So like I'm not like, I take a lot of stock from like what the servers say. They're the ones interacting with the customers all the time, or our managers touching all the tables. Like they're the ones in it who see the stuff that we can do to make changes. So I take a lot of stock in what they say.
So how often are you actually in the restaurants now?
Every day.
Every day?
It's just like, I just can't be at both all the time. So it's kind of more, I've been leaning more towards the like kind of leadership side and like menu direction and branding and things of that nature, where I feel like I can have more of an impact than like me being on Expo and like nitpicking. I'm trying to train other people to kind of see that same stuff so that I can focus on stuff that I feel like can provide more of an impact.
Do you watch any of the Gordon Ramsay Hell's Kitchen?
Oh yeah, I watched all of Hell's Kitchen for a while.
Restaurant, what was that where he would go and
Kitchen Nightmares?
Yeah,
I watched all those too.
Did you ever try to get on any of those shows?
No, but
you don't want to be publicly humiliated by Gordon Ramsay?
I did think about trying to get on Hell's Kitchen when I was in college, but I didn't.
Yeah, it's interesting because doing a lot of traveling, especially in our early years, we've eaten at a lot of different restaurants and just in towns you'd never know the name of.
Yeah,
and I know it's a show, The Kitchen Nightmares, but there's a lot of places that is just like what you see. Yeah, that you see. And it's just, and it's great to see entrepreneur go into the restaurant space and really have that fire and passion to do something great. Because what irritates me, a pet peeve of mine, and I guess you could take it as feedback or encouragement, whatever, or nothing at all, ignore it, is
unsolicited advice.
We talked about unsolicited advice and how I didn't listen to it, so you may not need to listen to it. But how you go to like a small town restaurant and let's say they're closed on Mondays, or they're closed on Saturday evening, or it's like why would you like try to go to a place in LaGrange, new place? I won't say any names. Labor Day, everyone's off, right? We wanted to go eat, and they're closed on Labor Day.
Yeah.
And it's like, why do you people hate money?
Yeah.
It's like, I don't understand. What do you think it is? I'm just curious. What do you think it is that drives people to like knowingly not take advantage of days that people are off of work to go eat and just shut their doors? Like, what's the point and purpose in that?
I think it's just quality of life. I mean, like this has got to be one of the most like grueling.
I feel guilty businesses. Immediately as soon as I said that. Instant shame.
Yeah. Like, I think that's probably it. I mean, it's a hard.
Wait, are you closed on Mondays?
Animal Farm's closed on Mondays. Gabagool was closed on Sundays.
Okay.
And we were closed on Labor Day.
I was.
Oh, there you go.
Hey, this is real. You're watching it live. No editing. This is real. But I'm curious, because from the outside looking in, because let's say if all the kids are off school and everybody's off from work, you want to go do something and a restaurant you may like or want to try and it's closed, it does get irritating. But
we want to be off work too. So
yeah, they're people just like you. They're not robots yet.
We want to go out and eat with our families on Labor Day too.
But if everybody did that, you wouldn't be able to. We would all be at home.
But yeah, it's
a quality of life balance. So people like me need to remember that. Yeah,
take a chill pill.
And take a chill pill.
Yeah,
take a chill pill. Which also kind of flows into another question I have for you on, the what would you say to encourage people, especially like if you have a new server and something may happen that's disappointing or somebody sends something from the kitchen. For me, I've never taken an aggressive attitude whatsoever because it's just food. I don't care, right? It's not that big a deal. But I'm sure you see, being in the industry as long as you have, how people can just be buttholes.
Yeah.
Right? And how do your servers deal with that? And, what would you say to people to remind them that, like, leaving a shitty tip can really affect somebody's day and it may not be their fault, and kind of speak to that?
Well, our system, if we go way above and beyond, if we mess up or somebody doesn't like something, like we'll keep going until we find something they like and they leave happy. But
except opening on Labor Day, that's just
our servers. So like if somebody doesn't like something or they send something back, their first thing they take it to the manager, and our managers are highly trained in dealing with guest complaints. So they'll go talk to the guests, find out what the issue was, find how we can fix it. Because that's what we want. We love when people tell us that something was wrong, because 99% of the time we can fix it and they'll leave happy and they'll come back. The problem is when somebody doesn't like something and they don't tell you and then they leave a review and they never give us a chance to fix it.
Yeah.
When we would go, we'll go way
above and
beyond to make sure somebody leaves happy. We've done all kinds of stuff. But
so you take that feedback, which is great, in real time, like genuinely, if somebody doesn't like something, even if it may not be something you care about or think is ridiculous.
Even if we don't necessarily agree with what they're saying, it doesn't really matter. We're gonna our philosophy is like, a customer does not pay for something they don't like, and we always try to get them something replaced that they will like. Sometimes if they say they don't want something, we'll just box something up to go and send it with them anyways. Or like, and our managers are just good people. So they kind of know the things.
I'll normally, even if I don't like it, I'll normally.
But that's the biggest. The biggest pet peeve is like, we want to know. Like, if you don't like something, please tell us because we can fix it. But whenever you don't tell us, and then go blast us somewhere, that's when this gets really frustrating.
On Yelp,
I think that's a pretty ubiquitous. I think all restaurant owners would agree with that.
And sometimes it's so hidden that you can't see it. Like if somebody's got a protected post or whatever on Facebook and they slam Animal Farm or Gabagool, and you have no like tentacles into that conversation.
It's hard to when we get reviews like that of people who just didn't, because our managers touch every single table. So it happens all the time. We don't get a ton of bad reviews, so it doesn't happen all the time. But like our managers will stop in, hey, just checking in. Did y'all enjoy everything? How was dinner? How was the evening? And they'll be like, yeah, it was great. And then they'll leave us a bad review. And then like, it's hard. I almost don't even take stock in what those people say, because I'm like, why would you do that? Just
why
tell
not
us.
give the feedback,
they're like, we didn't want to be annoying. I'm like, this is way more annoying. Yeah. You post this reviews and just letting us fix it. Anyways, I'll get off my soapbox on that one.
Well, I definitely want to talk about your leadership style, because you seem, everything I've read and everything I've looked at, over the past few days, just kind of reading everything I can, it seems like you have a very defined leadership style. So how did that originate? Where did that come from? And is it like something that you had to learn?
Definitely. Like I'm kind of awkward. I'm not like a natural leader in any sense, I don't think. It kind of started with my dad. Whenever I was a kid, in order to play like Madden or Xbox or anything like that, I had to read a leadership book. So I'd be like 12, and like I would get like an hour. If I read an hour of the book, then I could play an hour of video games. So I was 12 reading like...
This is what my wife does to her.
John Maxwell.
I was about to say John Maxwell had to be in there somewhere.
Or listening to like Bill Purvis leadership tapes, like success principles and how to win friends and influence people. So it started there.
Yeah.
But more so than anything, it just instilled like a love of reading for me. So I read a book a week for the last probably 8 years.
Wow.
So a lot of that is like kind of leadership oriented stuff. So I think I've learned a lot just from kind of forcing myself to. But really, most of it comes down to just like being kind and taking an interest in people.
Being open-minded.
Yeah. I mean, that's probably the biggest is like people want to come to work and they want to be treated like a human. And I just try to take time out of the day to just, even if it's just one person, just talk to them, ask them, what they did this weekend, how their families is, just like get to know them as a person, joke around with them.
Yeah.
Just build a relationship. So it's not just a transactional.
Things as a restaurant outside of the restaurant environment.
We do twice a year. We plan like a trip. So like for 4th of July, we went to the water park. So we went to Whitewater in Atlanta. But yeah, we try to do 2 like kind of big events a year.
Cool.
We're getting harder now because there's more people. But.
Yeah, 70 people. That's a lot of people. Well, I mean, Animal Farm had some challenges early on. I'm not going to beat a dead horse about it, but you navigated those changes and the challenges that came up because of that. And I don't think you lost any staff members from it. How does that process? I mean, I'm sure it was stressful in the moment.
Oh yeah, it was. I've been blessed to it's great for the restaurant because I don't really get stressed. Like that's never been something I've
really
have. Like I just kind of like can push through stressful situations. But at that point in time, I was very stressed. I was very stressful. But it comes back to, I think I had just built relationships with our people and trust. I can't remember what book I saw this in, but I talk to our managers about this all the time as it's like treating leadership like jars of marbles. Mm-hmm. So like each person, you picture them as a empty glass, and anytime you have a good interaction with them or do something that they value or do something that makes them trust you, you put a marble in a jar. Yeah. So whenever you kind of build these up, and when you do something, and it happens in the restaurant, like I'll lose my temper sometimes if something's not going right or say stuff I shouldn't, or situations like what happened, it takes marbles out.
Yeah.
Like you lose trust. But I think we had already built up so much that when it came time to take some out, I was still in the positive. So that's a general idea of kind of how I looked at that situation, and just being really open and honest. I didn't try to hide anything. Was very honest. Just try to be really, just tell the truth. That's kind of how I am with everything. So that helped.
Yeah. So they already had that experience that you were like that.
Yeah, we didn't lose any staff. They all.
That's great. That's a testament, I think, to culture, leadership, everything that you were able to do that. Yeah. And so,
thank you.
And I think too, on the staying power of that situation, I think that sets a really good example for how not to cancel yourself.
Yeah.
Right. And to just have the mental fortitude to be like, hey, this happened, being honest and transparent, handling it appropriately.
Yeah. Like I didn't do anything.
That's right. And then just push through, where a lot of people would have changed the name, closed it down, went and washed their hands and did something different. And I think that's a great example to set for people, that just because you kind of draw the short straw every now and again, you can persevere and you don't have to self-cancel, right? And shame and whatever other word you want to put with that when you face a very difficult situation. And that's great. And you're more popular now than you ever have been.
Yeah. There's always going to be something and problems, and that one was just kind of an extreme case, obviously. But but I mean, out of that, I tell people this, I probably gained 10 years of experience compact into a year of that, just all the stuff dealing with, partnership disputes and separating and like things of that nature.
Did that sour your view of partnerships?
Oh yeah. Yeah. I'll, unless it's my dad or, like a couple of very, very highly trusted people, I wouldn't have a partner.
Have you been approached about people wanting to partner with the
fairly often?
Really? Okay.
But yeah, I wouldn't do it. There's like probably less than 5 people that I would.
Yeah.
Because I've just gotten so comfortable at both of these. I own 100%. So kind of it's hard to kind of gotten spoiled with that.
Yeah. Well, I mean that's I think it's rightfully so. I mean, I think that's a like you said, it's a big issue to face, and it can definitely change your outlook on things.
Yeah.
Talk to people all the time. Certain partnerships work fine. We've had a partnership for a long time. We grew up together though, so we've known each other for a long time. But yeah, I would imagine that would be difficult anytime you get in a situation, not even to that extent. But yeah, I mean, I think you're right on with that. I would be the same way if I were in your shoes, honestly.
Yeah.
Be honest with you.
And then from that, opening during the COVID era, having some drama, some negative news, to going to winning awards.
Yeah.
Right? I mean, that had to feel good.
Yeah.
I mean, that did.
Yeah, that felt real good.
That little arc of redemption, so to speak, right? For the namesake.
The Uniquely Georgia Award from Grace. Yeah. Which is the Grace Awards. Peer nominated event, recognized across the state. I'm sure that felt great. I noticed, again, going back to your leadership style, that a lot of the praise that you heaped was on your staff members for that. It wasn't like Hudson's in the limelight, shining the spotlight on me. It was like, thank you for this. Here's the people that really deserve recognition. I thought that was so cool.
Yeah. I mean, it's true. That's like I said, it doesn't matter how good I can cook or how good I am at something if they're the ones doing it every day and interacting with the guests. And me by myself, I'm just a home cook. So I don't have all these people. The people is what make a restaurant. I just steer it.
I feel like that is another undervalued characteristic, though, of a business owner, because I think the immediate kind of jerk reaction for a lot of business owners is to sort of pull everything within themselves and sort of protect, because it's something that you've built and it's something that it's your baby. You don't want to see certain things happen to it. And I think that a lot of business owners would benefit from kind of loosening the reins a little bit. Obviously not to a great extent to where it's going to be detrimental to you, but just enough to get ideas or enough to give people ownership. I think it's just hard. Do you find that in your experience with peers that maybe own restaurants or other businesses?
I don't know. I mean, I would say it's like kind of my style of doing stuff. I'd say it's definitely pretty new. It's a newer style, not newer style, but like my management style and leadership style is kind of like more new age. So I think like
how is that?
You're talking crystals and like incense, or I'm just joking.
No, I mean like as far as like there's like a good example of it is like in coaching, like the style of like the Bobby Knights and the Nick Sabans, and like that style is of just like perfection and just like hammering people is, I think, going away. And you see a lot of the new age kind of coaches of building relationships and more casual style. So that's kind of how I look at it. Like, so like me and other restaurant owners, just because of our age difference, may have completely different styles of, like we have the same end goal and the same care and the same, like before coming here, I've sought out a lot of people to get advice from. So I used to do this. People think it's weird when I tell them, but like when I was in college and I wanted to get a hold of like these big restaurateurs in Atlanta, like, Ford Fry and Fifth Group restaurants, and like these people that got like 30 plus, restaurants. You can't really find their emails or phone numbers. So I would like find them on the tax assessor website and I'd write them a letter and be like, okay, I'm like super interested in what you do, and just basically trying to see if they would give me any time to talk.
Yeah.
And surprisingly, a lot of them would take you up on it. So like I got to have lunch with some of the best restaurateurs in Atlanta with these big companies, and they would just tell me all they
Wow.
everything they could, and that was big. I mean, some big groups.
What's your favorite, a rabbit trail here, what's your favorite restaurant in Atlanta?
I have a lot of them. I don't necessarily have a favorite, but I really like the places I go to, like repeatedly. It's like the Optimist, 246, Iberian Pig. That's kind of my main ones. That's my go-tos.
Good
Gabagool
choices.
is a lot is like a model a little bit after 246, but yeah.
Let's talk about Gabagool. It opened this year.
Yeah.
So what was the turning point of saying, hey, let's open another restaurant?
I've been wanting to do it for a couple of years, so I just was waiting for the right space. So I probably looked at 15 different restaurant spaces as they would come available, or just buildings in general. Just waiting for the last one, the right one, and then that deal came up and jumped all over it. We made that deal in a day. So like he called me, hey, would you want to buy this restaurant? And I was like, thought about it for about 15 minutes. I was like, yep.
So when you're doing a deal like that, restaurant's closing.
Yeah.
Say, do you want to buy? How are you valuing? Which are you paying for the building? Are you paying for the equipment? Because you're going to go in there and start your own thing, right? So walk us through
Well, that building in particular was like whenever they built River and Rail in 2015. I mean, they spent a lot of money with the nicest of things like equipment. So the equipment definitely has some value, but really that was such a sought after building that probably a portion of what I was buying was just to not have to like have it go to market. Like, so like I purchased it, like everything in it basically, and then went to the landlord when I purchased it and we worked out a deal. But had they just closed, then, there probably would have been 10 different people trying to get it, and then it would just, so it kind of just locked it in, was a lot of what I bought. But I mean, the equipment in there is very valuable, so it was a fair deal.
So you opened Gabagool, and you said that process was quicker than Animal Farm process.
Yeah, 3 months. So
you kind of learn a lot from the Animal Farm process, and you were able to kind of spearhead that into Gabagool. Did you have how has Gabagool been since then?
It's been good. I mean, it started out like just a hellstorm of like just business. It was pretty crazy. Like, of how many people were trying to get reservations. Obviously it has mellowed out a little bit now. Like the weekends are fully booked and the weekdays have calmed down a little bit. But it started out just a madhouse. It was, I wasn't expecting that. That was the hardest part. It's like, oh my goodness. Like we were prepping every day and then selling all of it. And then like every day it was like starting from scratch.
And that was only dinner service, right?
Yeah, just dinner.
Okay. And what was we already talked about, but why the name? Explain the name of Gabagool.
It's from The Sopranos. I just always liked it. For years, I've said like I want to have an Italian restaurant, and if I do, I'm going to call it Gabagool.
Which Gabagool is the slang term for capicola?
Yeah.
All right.
Yeah. And The Sopranos made it popular, but you hear him saying it in The Office and Family Guy, and stuff like that. Yeah.
Gabagool.
But it started. I mean, I guess the term's been around, but The Sopranos like put it in pop culture.
Right.
But it was just a fun word, fun name to build branding around.
Yeah, I think isn't there like a sign on? Isn't there something in Animal Farm? There's like a little picture or something that says Gabagool on it.
Yeah,
too.
it's at Gabagool now, but I bought it at the Charleston Farmers Market. So I gotta buy that.
Yeah.
Yeah,
well,
it says it's like a picture of like a cutting board with Tony Soprano etched into it. It says Gabagool is what's for dinner.
Yeah.
So then we put it on the menu. So if you see like in the top right of our menu where it has the definition of Gabagool, it says under it, it's what's for dinner. But it's from that cutting board.
Well, with opening 2 restaurants, you talked a little bit also about chef that kind of goes back and forth. So what does the operational structure look like now that you have 2 restaurants versus 1?
A lot more management, but so like we have pretty solid management like schedule. So, each restaurant has a like full front of house manager, handles like the services and payroll and scheduling, stuff like that. And then they have like basically assistant managers who run the floor when they're not there. And each restaurant has 2 sous chefs, and that's kind of me and our chef will kind of bounce back and forth. And then we have a bar manager who runs the bar logistics for both. So she bounces back and forth. So there's a lot of management involved now, more so than it used to be.
Interesting.
Because it used to just be me, like for the first probably at least 2 years, it was just, I ran every shift. So it was like me just working 80 hours, just working every shift, but it's not like that anymore.
Yeah. That lasted for first 1 or 2 years, you said?
Probably over 2 years. I tore my ACL, had to have surgery on it. I was out for a while. So that was kind of the turning point of like, maybe I probably, not only like I probably shouldn't be here this much, but like I physically can.
Yeah.
So.
You need a break.
Yeah.
Well, have you had any shift in your role as an owner now that you brought on 2 businesses other than just the management side of it?
I mean, in the beginning of Gabagool, it was just full throttle. Like I was there every day the whole time. But now we've gotten the more systems in place. Anytime you open in a restaurant, like I'm prepared to be there.
Yeah.
All day, every day. But once we get the systems in place and kind of get a groove going, then I try to back off a little bit.
Yeah, I mean I'm sure that goes into the management and the hiring and all. I mean, it kind of all wraps into one, I'm sure.
Yeah.
When we talk about, we've had some little, I don't know what you would call it, little Q&A session we've done with small business owners, with startup owners, and the question always comes up about finances and the strategy of sort of having to separate your business finances from your personal finances. Because I think business owners have a tendency to put all their eggs in one basket. If you've got a baby or a side project, you're like, I'm going to put everything into this. And then, now we're seeing industries get replaced by AI and stuff like that. So how do you think in your mind about separating the business finances from the personal finances to make sure you and your family are taken care of in the future, but also that your business is operationally sound and you can meet payroll obligations and all that kind of stuff?
Yeah. So, I mean, I pay myself a salary. So, like, I pay myself just weekly, more than enough for us to live, our life.
Right.
And then any excess profits from the business, I just keep it in the business, just put it in a, money market.
Yeah, like an interest-bearing account.
And I don't even really touch it until we're work on the next project.
Yeah.
And then like personally, I just have a auto draft system for like a managed taxable account for investment wise. But so I just completely separate them like that.
So do you have target percentages? Like you want to have X amount go toward the operation of the business, X amount constantly being put into savings. Do you view it that way, or is it a little more?
Like I don't view it like that with that like mathematical approach. I just like will look at it and like if we've had good months and the checking account has built up, then I just move it all to money market and save it. Because like for Gabagool, that's how we opened it. It was just it was all just profits from that we had saved and put in. Just took it all out of a money market and opened Gabagool with it. So my like personally and business is completely separate.
Yeah. Do you? Sometimes we'll see occasionally business owners who have not taken that step. The finances kind of commingled a little bit, and it makes it difficult. Certainly it takes time, but it also makes it difficult just in life because it's such a muddied mess.
And being able to appropriately measure the difference between the accounting profit and the economic profit, like how much are you really making?
Right.
And that really helps when you create that delineation. It really helps business owners understand is what I'm doing actually worth it? Am I actually getting a true return on my time?
Yeah.
So I think that's very important. Now, do you ever, with restaurant and turnover being high, I know it wouldn't be an option for everyone. But have you thought about, for people that are, that stick with you for a long time, or people that make it past, say, a probationary period, mainly maybe the cooks and the kitchen staff, of offering benefits or retirement benefits?
Yeah, that's something we're like in the works of. Obviously having Gabagool now has made it more feasible, because when you have 30 employees, it's like outrageous to provide benefits just cost wise. But the more employees we have, the easier it gets. Let's on like the health side in particular.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it's interesting. That's a good question. Something I hadn't thought about. Is it common for food service industry to offer specifically retirement benefits?
Yeah, for like most, like over 3 restaurants, I think you kind of have to. That's kind of Ford Fry. I don't know, Ford Fry, he's a big restaurateur in Atlanta, but he says this thing where once you do more than 3 restaurants, you may as well do 20, because like all of the stuff you got to put in place. So that's one of them.
It's like having more than 4 kids. It's like at 4, it doesn't matter how many there are. Yeah, well, that's so if the structure would be that the benefits are at the like holdings company level, or the benefits are at the individual restaurant level?
It'd be like a holding company type thing.
Okay.
You can carve it out more in a holding company.
Do you have a holding company that owns both restaurants, or do you have
don't.
different holding companies?
They're different companies right now, but
okay. Yeah, all that's super interesting too. The structure of it, the S corp versus LLC type.
Mine are both S corps. Just because owning 100%, I could get a lot of tax.
Yeah, self-employment tax,
or just running expenses through the business is easy.
So you have it set up to where you take both a salary and a distribution at some point.
I don't take really distributions. I mean, I guess on paper I do. Like whenever we move money to a money market, in my mind, I'm just keeping it in the business. But on paper, it's a distribution.
Okay, and then you just find a high yield money market to let the money sit.
Yeah, I mean, it used to, I guess it's a little bit less now. It was, last year was 5%, but I guess it's like 4.5% now or something like that. I mean, y'all would know.
Yeah, and it'll change. Obviously, there's a big conversation about the Federal Reserve lowering rates this month. So, but yeah, if you're 4.5% to 5% is probably where you should be right now in any kind of savings account or high yield.
Yeah, especially for your business reserves, it's just sitting there, kind of dry powder waiting to be deployed. There's a lot of people that'll keep it at kind of the big brick and mortar banks. We had somebody reach out to us, very large 7-figure business reserve, and it's like they're getting like 0.05, and it's like, I mean, let's do 4. Can I get 4?
You can definitely get more than that. I mean, you're gonna have to branch out,
even if it's 3, right? I mean, it's better than
it's just a free
0.05.
Yeah, just a free $50,000.
Yeah, exactly. Just from pushing a few buttons on the screen.
You just got to go outside of like your brick and mortars. Unfortunately, your local banks are not going to pay that, but some of the other institutions, the online institutions, will. How much did the downtown vibe that we got going on down here, how much did that influence the restaurants, and how much are you trying to influence the downtown with your restaurants?
I mean, I don't know that the downtown affected the restaurants. Like, I definitely am trying to just help kind of carry the torch of pushing restaurants in the area forward. Like I mentioned, what Tom and Buddy and them have done they started this whole thing, but I'm trying to keep it going, build on what they've done. And but a lot of what we do, to me, the most important thing, obviously probably not the most important thing, there's other more important things, but one of the things that are, to me, a restaurateur has to do is travel and go eat at restaurants who are doing better. So me and my wife, we go to Atlanta all the time. We try to go to New York at least once or twice a year just to eat and pick restaurants and see what these big markets are doing and the trends and the cool stuff that they're doing, and try to bring some back and try to emulate some of that. Because there's always, in these big markets, there's always people doing some really cool stuff that I think is super important. I think for any business to go to a bigger market and see what the successful people are doing.
Yeah, we always say you don't want to be the smartest person in the room.
If you always want to be, room.
Oh yeah,
you always want to be in a room.
We had that experience probably 12 years ago at an event, and we both almost simultaneously said, I honestly think we are both the youngest and smartest people here. That is not a good sign.
Yeah,
that youngest is irrelevant, but it was just, normally with age comes wisdom. But the environment we were in at a expo of sorts, it was like, this is not, we don't need to be in this environment because we should not be smarter than somebody that's been doing something for 40 years, right? Or 30 years. So you want to leave that room and immediately find the one that you're the dumbest in. And that's, I would much rather be in that environment learning and soaking things in than getting some type of confirmation bias that you're doing everything right. So I think that's cool going to Atlanta. Atlanta's full of, there's so many people, right? In all these big cities.
But just not even, I mean, there's so many around us that they're just doing cool stuff. I mean, Birmingham the food scene is really popping off. New Orleans, Nashville, Asheville. That's just to name a few that are pretty close.
Do you still email business owners to try to sit down and do lunch with them?
Yeah, I talked to one that was really important to me probably a couple years ago out of Charleston, a guy named Brooks Wrights. He owns this place called Leon's, Melfi's, Little Jack's in Charleston, like 3 of the most popular restaurants. I learned a lot from him. I just emailed him and had a phone call with him. Still trying to set one up with Ford Fry. I really want to talk to him, but still working on that one. But I email people all the time, just trying to see if they'll talk. They're less like willing to do it now that I have a couple restaurants than like when I was just a college student trying to learn stuff. Yeah. Not even that. I just think it's different when you have like this young, hungry college student just wanting to learn. Like one of them, a guy named Todd Ginsburg, he owns the General Mirror, Fred's Meat and Bread. Used to own the West Egg Cafe in Atlanta. They had like a big group, and I wrote a letter to him and went and had coffee with him. And he was like, I'm prepping for this catering event. You want to come help me? And I was like, sure. So I just like went back there and I was just prepping with him, just me and him for a couple hours, just cutting veggies. And I just asked him like a million questions, and it was an awesome experience. But like that's so important for any business to just try to constantly keep learning and find the people who are doing it better and ask them how they do it.
Yeah, any industry. That was what kind of surprised me. When we started this podcast, is that we've talked to a lot of people that I've not met. We don't really know each other until this moment, but I'll get somebody's phone number and cold call them, say, hey,
wait, did we do the client event at Animal Farm just so he would have to show up? This hit me. I don't know. Is that the leverage?
Maybe that was the subconscious thing. Yeah, maybe. But they're very open to it. When you talk to somebody and you want to talk about their story or learn from them, they're eager to do that, and they're eager to give you that advice. So that's wonderful advice. Just try. Just shoot your shot.
Most people will say yes. I mean, even some of the most successful people you can find. I mean, like because people don't do it. Like one of the people I wrote a letter to, big restaurateur. He was the CEO. He's retired now of Fifth Group Restaurants. As they have 30 restaurants in Atlanta, like South City Kitchen, like big operations. And he was like honored that I wrote him a letter. Like his wife was like you got to meet with him. That was such a 100% I read that letter. I'm like,
yeah.
That was pretty cool that he thought it was cool.
Yeah. I guess I already knew it to an extent, but really it's been reinforced that so many people will be willing to give you advice if you just ask.
Yeah.
And we have a podcast coming out next week. It was just so incredible, the talking through that and how just by asking a few questions, you can get an audience with like even billionaires, super successful people, and more than willing to share. And I don't know if that's kind of a cultural shift, because you see a lot of like reality TV and stuff on YouTube where successful people have really like opened up and let you kind of see into their lives and their decision making. Maybe that's encouraged other people, or maybe it's always been that way. But ask as many questions as you can. And if somebody's not willing to answer, just okay, that's great, and have a nice day.
I think it's a natural inclination to want to tell people. Like, you do all this work, and I mean, these successful people have put years and years and years of work and effort, and to feel like appreciated and somebody wants to learn from you. It's kind of a honoring. Like I would, if somebody reached out to me wrote me a letter, sent me an email, and like wanting to ask me questions, like I would love.
You heard it here first.
Yeah, you don't have to write a letter to my house. I'll give you my number. Yeah, you don't have
He will
to, you don't
accept
have to
any
look me
letters?
up on the tax assessor.
If I get a letter in the mail, I'm like, don't really want to open, like if it's handwritten, you know, I'm like, okay, what is this?
I don't know.
Happening?
There's a charm to it.
A charm to it.
Where do you see both the restaurants and yourself in the next 5 to 10 years? Is there a third restaurant in your future?
Yeah, I think so.
Really?
I don't know when. I kind of play I'm always looking for good business deals, of deals that I can, make money on. So I'm very patient in that way. Like I have a third concept.
Would it be here or is there another market you're maybe looking at?
No, I mean, I want to stay here, but I'll probably do one more restaurant that I have a concept for, but I'm just waiting for the right building, the right deal. I think that's what a lot of restaurateurs get into. They get themselves into bad deals and kind of doomed from the start. But
what about the food truck scene? What do you think about that?
I think it's cool.
Popular.
Like I like to eat at food trucks, but like I said, more of like business minded. Like I want to make money. I just don't feel like you can make that much money on a food truck, but I don't know the business of it that well. But I love food trucks in general.
Yeah, I've thought about that too.
Yeah.
Doing the math when I go up to him, it's like, okay, how much did you pay for the truck?
Yeah.
How many burritos do you have to sell over what period of time? So that's interesting. So you think 5 to 10 years, maybe another restaurant, want to stay in this area. And what does retirement look like for somebody such as yourself?
I mean, I have kind of want to retire early as possible. That's why I've tried to start saving young, because it's really a hard business it's a young man's business. The restaurant industry is hard on your body. Just the amount of hours and like it's not something I want to be doing much past 50, I would imagine.
Does that look like you putting the people in place that you feel confident allowing to run it, or do you reach a certain point where you want to just pass the torch to another owner? How does that look like?
I don't know. I feel like it's a ways off to where there's no telling what the world's even going to look like at that point. So I have really no idea. But I just know I don't want to be doing this. I don't want to be doing this when I'm older.
Yeah,
I think I got 20 good years in me of it. But.
You've heard it here. Animal Farm will be around for at least 2 more decades.
Yeah.
I mean, restaurants come and go, but, I think I want to be in the business in some capacity.
Yeah. Maybe that's a partnership deal. Maybe somebody buys 40% of it and, they're incentivized to run it. They're younger, maybe.
Yeah. But I love the business. I don't want to do anything else. But yeah, it is hard. It's hard just on the body and just the schedule, sleep schedules, and kind of the family aspect. Like I have a 5-month-old baby, so so that's definitely affected me more of trying to be home more.
More guilt for the Labor Day.
Been there, done that. Yeah. Well, I mean, another question, and we'll end because I know we're coming up on time, but a couple more questions. The first one is, when you see restaurants, I guess specifically locally since we're here, but when you see restaurants open and then a short time later have to close, is there any part of you that does like a post-mortem on that business to figure out kind of what their issues were? Or is that something that you notice in the moment? Like, oh, those guys are going to struggle. Well,
there's obviously the statistics of opening restaurants are rough, but it's really only because of 2 things. Not only, but the majority of restaurants fail because of 2 things. And the first one's lack of experience. It's like a lot of people, it's a weird business to where people think that just because they can cook at home that they can open a restaurant. And no other business is like that. It's like, nobody's like, I like teeth. I'm going to, just open a dinner. Like, it's like.
Or like nails at home, and then you open up a nail salon too.
Yeah, like nobody, in no other business do you just do it with no experience. So lack of experience. Like I think anybody who opens a restaurant needs to have done it and managed one, or at least worked in one for a good amount of time. And then 2 is undercapitalization. That's the 2. So you don't have enough money or budget enough money to keep it going whenever it doesn't start out how you want it.
Yeah.
I can't remember the exact numbers, but if you factor those two in, if you take those two things out of the equation, the amount of restaurants that fail after the first couple of years goes like significantly down.
Really? Interesting. So how can people set themselves up? If you had an entrepreneur that's like, hey, I want to have a restaurant in 5 years, what's the number one piece of advice you'd give that person?
Go find somebody who's doing a good job and work for them. And then just, once you get to the point of opening a restaurant, take your budget and double it. Make sure you have a lot of money not a lot, but make sure you have plenty of money in the bank whenever you open. Because what a lot of places people will do is they'll like just spend all their money to get it open, and then they don't have any money in the bank, and then it's just you're underwater from the get-go.
Yeah.
So those two things, I feel like if you have a lot of restaurant experience or just a good amount, and you have plenty of money in the bank when you open, your chance of success is a lot higher.
Yeah.
Well, that's great advice, and you've given us so much value to the listeners, and just want to thank you for coming. And I'll say, and I've said it before we even started this podcast series, and before I even knew you were going to go on, I've always said that Animal Farm, I believe, hands down, is the best restaurant in Columbus.
Well, thank you.
Best quality food, best value for money, best cocktails. And no offense to other restaurants out there, but genuinely, I honestly believe that. I think you guys do a wonderful job.
Well, thank you.
And we just thank you very much for showing up and giving us dropping some value.
Yeah, I was excited.
Yeah, and just consider opening next Labor Day. That's all I ask. I mean, that's it.
Well, we appreciate your time.
Yeah.
Thanks for coming. And,
Thank you.
We will
Appreciate
see
y'all.
you.
Yeah.
I'll reach across the table. And we will. We'll see you next time. Maybe we'll have you come back out and have another conversation.
Anytime, I'm happy to.
All right, thank you.
Thanks for hanging out again with us for another episode of Fountain City Founders, where we sit down with business owners and entrepreneurs of all sizes that have made a positive impact in their community.
Yeah, and so away from the podcast, Matt and I run Momentum Wealth. It's a boutique firm where people come to us for one of three reasons, really. They want help with investments, they want to feel confident in retirement, or they just have a big financial decision that they don't necessarily want to make alone.
Yep, and if you're nodding your head to any of that, you're not alone. We help business owners, families, and individuals alike be the most successful they can be in their finances.
Yeah, so visit us at momentumwealth.us. Reach out. We'd love to start a conversation with you. And hey, thanks for watching.